So this train set is pretty cool, but there's a couple of issues. One is it's just unbelievably loud. So if we turn it on, you don't really want that in your living room all the time. So either we need to disable the sound or have some kind of volume control. The other problem is it's battery powered, so all the batteries are in the coal carriage. Now it takes 4 AA batteries, so I just want to check the voltage that's coming out of this, see if these are in series or parallel. So let's see how much volts we're going to need. Got my multimeter here. Let's shove this down the end and then measure. So we've got 5.1 volts. So these batteries are pretty flat. So we've got 4 AA batteries. So I think normally this outputs 6 volts. So we'll put this to one side, make that rechargeable. Let's have a look inside the engine and see how it works. So I can see some screws down here. So let's try taking those off. I assume you undo those screws and this whole green part comes off by itself. I think the speaker might be in here, so let's give that a quick go. So that's one part removed. You can see the motor. I think this looks like some kind of weights just to weigh it down a bit. Obviously the electronics is still locked away in here, so there's a screw in here and 2 screws here. So let's give that a go. So, oops. Wheels will come out, and these two metal bars pop out. Okay, so that was surprisingly simple once you remember to take all the screws out. So as you'd expect, we have a little PCB with the usual blob chip on it, so nothing too exciting there. There's 2 wires here that go off to the speaker, so if you look down here you can just about see these 2 yellow wires are soldered on to the speaker, and then these 2 red wires go to the switch. So there's a fair amount of room in there, so I think we could do something quite clever. Yeah, so there's 1 red wire coming from the power going up to the switch that then comes back to the PCB, and then this green wire just goes directly to the PCB, and then these 2 wires are running the motor. So let's dig through my bits and pieces and see what we've got to mess around with this, see if we can improve it. But before we get on with some train surgery, let's do a quick shout out to the channel sponsor, PCB Way. We've had a bunch of PCBs from them in the past, including my nice little dev board, so we'll be doing some follow-up projects and we'll use them for that. Check out a link in the description. Okay, so I've looked through all my bits and bobs and we've got some options. I've got these 2 batteries. They're quite low capacity, 820 milliamp hours, but we could double them up in parallel. Or we have this 18650 cell, which would give us plenty of power. Now I think this should fit, but let's double check if it will actually fit. And then I have this nice battery charging board that has the battery protection IC, the charger chip, and it's got the boost circuit, so we can adjust the output voltage using this little adjuster here. So we should be able to get 5 volts from our 3.7 volt battery. But let's check if it actually fits first, because could be wasting our time if it doesn't fit. Okay, so this is an interesting challenge. There would be room for the battery if we chopped out this red container. Well, it did take quite a bit of chopping, but we've managed to do it. So now the battery slots in nicely there. We have the cable, so if we just pull that up this way, out of the way, then we can slide this back on. And if we align everything perfectly, then we should come back together. So we have the battery terminals coming out here. We've got the wire going to the plug here. I'll have to pull that back through a bit. I like the strain relief here and not in the cable. Very good. So yeah, I think we can make this work. I think what I'll do first is I'll wire the battery up, and then we'll adjust this to actually get 5 volts out. So let's do that first. Okay, so the battery is wired up and I've adjusted it so we get around 5.5 volts coming out. So if we just measure one of these outputs, 5.52. So that's pretty reasonable. Or 5.47. It's close enough anyway. So that's a good battery voltage to put out. It's like a kind of 4 AA batteries that are in between fully charged and going flat. Now we just need to solder up the 2 wires here, so I need to strip some wire and solder it up. Okay, so in theory this is all wired up. Not too happy about this capacitor flapping away in the breeze, so I'm going to stick some electrical tape around that. Okay, not the cleanest job, but I think it will do. So I can stick that there, that sits on top there. Let's get this back together and see if it actually works. Let's just do a quick sanity check to check polarities, because sometimes these people put red instead of black. So let's shove that in the end there. Put that there, 5.5 volts. Now if I remember correctly, the center one was positive. Always forget to try and remember these things.
Remember.
So let's plug the train in and see what happens. Now I have disconnected the speaker so there won't be any sound, but wheels go round. Perfect. So that should work nicely. Let's just deal with the super loud speaker next. Okay, so on to the loud sound issue. I think I've got a thing that will work. What I've done is put a potentiometer in line with the speaker. Now, if we turn this on, let me just arrange things so it doesn't try and drive off the desk. So we'll turn on. So currently, we have very quiet, you can barely hear it. All you can hear is the motor. Now we have maximum volume, and we can turn it up and down. So I think that will work nicely. Let's just turn this off. So what I'm going to try and do is shove this up here. I'm going to chop the top of this off, and then I'm going to stick the top onto here, and that will just turn the knob and adjust the volume. So let's do a bit of chopping. I have no idea how well this is going to work. This could be a bit of a disaster. So wish me luck. We're going in and we're going to do some chopping. Okay, we got there eventually. I need to do a bit of clean-up work, but I think this might work quite nicely. So we have our little end cap that we'll stick on there, and where's it gone? And this, we can arrange things, get it in the right place. This will stick up here, and the end cap will sit on top. Need to just arrange things slightly. Bit of clean up work and a bit of hot glue, and this will look okay, I think. Might get a bit of sandpaper and just tidy this up a little bit. But yeah, I think we've done it. So this is quite challenging. I need to stick this end cap on here and then position this in the right place so that it's quite close. Now, what I might do, I'll try sticking this on the end first with some hot glue, see how well that works. So let's use this. So I'll be quite quick with this. So we'll fill this up with hot glue. Ouch. And then quickly try and stick it on. making sure it's reasonably straight. Okay, well, I think that's stuck on. I don't know how straight it is. I think not very, but might be good enough. Okay, and now we just need to position this and somehow attach it, which I'm not entirely sure how to do. So hopefully sufficient hot snot will hold this in place. We'll let that cool down and then I'll see if I've got it in remotely the right place. It actually looks pretty reasonable. So I'm just going to hold it here and let it set. Okay, so we've got hot snot holding this in place. I've ended up super gluing this top bit. Now hopefully that will actually stick. The hot snot wasn't really holding, so I'm hoping the super glue will do a better job. But I'm also hoping I've not super glued everything together, because the super glue went everywhere, as super glue is often wont to do. So we'll let that set. It's not sticking. Oh, shoot! It's not sticking very well. We need to leave that for a while. Oh dear. Making a complete hash of this. Why is that not working? Okay, so I think we should leave that to set for a while and try not to stick my fingers together. So we'll leave that for an hour or so, let that set. Okay, so it's done. The only bit I'm having difficulty with is sticking this end cap on without gluing myself to everything. So the hot glue didn't really work, and super glue is proving to be very annoying. But it's not too bad, so let's turn it on. So we can turn up to maximum loudness, which is pretty loud, or we can turn it down, make it slightly quieter. The only slightly annoying thing is the drivetrain in this with the plastic gears is quite noisy. So any hints on making that a bit more quiet would be much appreciated. Not bad. So I definitely need to learn more patience when it comes to super glue. Very quick for sticking fingers together, not so fast on plastic and metal. But now this is pretty firmly attached. It's not going to fall off at any time. I put a bit of gold paint over the scratch marks. It's come out quite nicely. It is slightly wonky. It's not quite perfectly positioned. But then again, it is an artisan repair. So not bad. Works quite well. I might 3D print a replacement at some point. But for now, this is pretty good. It will go back in the box, ready for next Christmas.